Friday the 13th was a day where the faculty got together and we had a feeling that the school is going to be closed on Monday.
A few things had happened before that week. Everything was moving really fast. Probably a week, maybe 2 weeks before that, Elk Grove Unified had shut down. About a week later, the Catholic schools in San Francisco Diocese also decided to shut down.
I mean, I'm not going to pretend like it wasn't stressful. It was.
And so we had about a week to just look at what the Diocese of San Francisco was doing. It was very helpful.
As a teacher, my first reflection was I wouldn't have contact with my students, with my families, with other staff members.
Principal, Mr. Love, and our vice principal, Mr. Moore, just really took off. They foresaw what could happen and they prepared.
We didn't know at that time that school was going to be closed on Monday, but the way that the dominoes seemed to be falling, it seemed like it would be prudent to go ahead and prepare for a distance learning scenario. We decided, just because things were moving so fast, that we would call in substitute teachers on Friday the 13th.
And we spent that entire Friday not knowing that by the end of the day we would close.
So we were pushing around at different ideas, and so Robert and Jeff decided that we were going to implement Google Classroom and Zoom, and they were going to give us some training on those two pieces of technologies.
And that planning really did pay off well for us. Our faculty was able to get together, gather the materials that their students would need, plan lessons that would allow them to make it through that first week, while also being able to teach our students in tools such as Zoom and the Google Classroom.
So in a way, it's been that whole jump in and do it was pretty a good choice.
Our teachers worked really hard that day. We got a lot done, but as soon as the bell was ringing to end the school day and we were ready to have our children go to be picked up by their parents in the parking lot.
We had already arranged for the kids to all take their books home because of the possibility it could happen. And then, by 3:00, our principal, Mr. Love, had sent information to all the parents that the school would be closed and this is what we would be doing.
So in my classroom, I had like a plastic box, and I went and I took the books that I knew I was going to need. I took, my planners, anything that I thought that I needed to work from home that was essential. I took those and put them in that big plastic bin.
We had to just get to it right away and learn all this stuff.
But fortunately for us, because we did have that day to prepare, it really did help us be able to go right into distance learning the very next week.
Then the teachers just, freaked out and didn't let it get them down. They just did what they had to do. They could have crawled in a corner and shivered, but they didn't. They knew that there was a job that had to be done. They care about their students, and we just got rolling with it.
Oh, I felt tremendous relief from the action being put into place, the tremendous support from the diocese office, from Colonel Moore, Mr. Love, Father.
So by the middle of that next week, our students had already had curriculum. They were already going and they were already on camera with our teachers in Zoom meetings, learning and staying connected.
I wanted to keep it as normal as possible. So they're still going to have their quizzes. They're still going to have their homework assignments. They're still going to have their tests. The other piece of it was, okay, I don't want to give them assignments all the time to be in front of a screen. So I wanted to give them a project each week. So it's something that they could cut out, something they could draw, something that they could make that does not require them to be in front of a screen.
I drew Athena.
Athena, yes.
And I put Athens right there, like an Athens coin.
And we had our first all-school prayer service on Wednesday of the following week, where the entire school got together on Zoom. We did our normal activity.
Good morning, OLA. This is Colin Davey, your student body president. Let's begin with a prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
And that first meeting, meeting they had, assembly, where the whole school was there, and I could see it on their faces. It was like this immediate sense of relief that they saw their friends. They all, were there to pray together and be together as like a whole. And it was just like, okay, everything's going to be okay.
As we were preparing for distance learning on our end, there was a whole nother side of this that we needed to learn more about. And that was we knew how it was going to work on our end and all of the work that it was going to require to get there. What we didn't have a clear picture of was what was going on at home with the students.
For us as parents, we've had to kind of navigate that, our own stress, and being able to separate that from letting that project onto our children, because they have their own level of stress.
I won't lie and say it was easy. There was an adjustment period there, but now that I think we're in about our third week, we're getting a little bit more of a hang of it. Fourth week, we're getting a little bit more of a hang of it.
So Mr. Love sent out a poll to our parents, to our students, to our teachers, asking what they've learned from this experience going through shelter in place, distance learning, the whole experience of dealing with the pandemic. And I tell you, what I've learned is firsthand what our 4 pillars of our school mean to our families, to our students, to our teachers.
We just needed to get a really clear picture of how this was going to work for the students and for the parents, who now were foisted into the position of not only parents but classroom managers, while the teachers were also managing the classroom but not physically present for the children.
I survey the kids every Friday, just kind of, how are you? Like, what have you been up to? Have you read any good books? Like, where's your stress level? Kind of like those kind of things.
It's the teachers reciprocating that understanding, like, okay, we understand that you guys have a lot on your plate. Obviously, they deal with this because they're used to running classrooms. But that understanding that they reciprocate to us, knowing, okay, you guys have multiple kids there. Yeah, if something's not turned in on the deadline, or, things are a little off here and there, whatever, we'll work through it. Just as long as the kids are learning the concepts and, powering through and, gaining from this, that's the most important part.
I like that our teachers getting us ready for when we get into 3rd grade.
And so we got an immense amount of information back from the surveys that we sent out. Honestly, about 35 pages of information.
And our community is strong. Those responses we receive from our parents, from our students, from our teachers, just their bonding. They get on to the assembly in the morning, 3 days a week, and you could see the community and the desire for the community.
As time goes on and we go through these past few weeks, that they have also adjusted the way that they're doing things.
At first, when we first started digital learning, it was kind of hard to process how to do things virtually rather than in person. But then as time went on, it got easier and easier, and I got used to it.
Surveys also just kind of indicated how much work we should give and how much we shouldn't. So our elective classes and our specialty classes like music, art, and PE, based on those surveys, we knew that we had to make those optional classes and enrichment opportunities for the students, but not required, because for some of our parents who have 2 or 3 kids in the younger grades especially, they're still having to learn how to use that technology. The students still need a lot of supervision, and so having a full day of instruction while for parents who also have to work themselves and take care of their other responsibilities was a lot.
So they did that as well. So there's a lot of adjusting and seeing what works for the kids and how the kids are doing with the different classes and the way they're going about doing them. They adjust it so it works best for the class as a whole.
And I think that's something else that, this online learning, it supports the students in that way also, and gives them some comfort. They can see their friends, they can see their teacher, they can check in, they have some FaceTime. And I think right now that is important for them because their lives changed overnight, like all of ours did.
One of the reasons why I'm just so appreciative of the learning curriculum that they're doing is the consistency. Is they're still able to see their friends and have chats with them during the class day, and then we can still do the Zoom meetings or whatever afterwards.
The teachers have been also truly amazing, and I feel like they're very understanding. And I think once in that first week, I felt really strict about, okay, we have to do it this way. But then I realized that we've kind of got to do it at our own pace and how it's going to work best for us as a family. And I think the teachers have been amazingly understanding about that.
And we're still getting feedback each day, and we're still continuing to adjust and adapt to the situations that are needed. But for us, the main message that we've sent to our families is please continue to talk to us. Let us know how this is going. Let us know how we can help you help your students, because now our parents are, we have a saying in Catholic education that parents are the primary educators of their children. Well, that's taken on a whole new meaning with this distance learning. But I am so pleased by the response of our students, who are very positive, who are doing the best that they can, and who are exhibiting not only a good attitude, but they're working hard. And you can see how much they appreciate our school and what we have by the way that they've responded to this situation, which nobody asked for. But they've dealt with it. They've responded to it in a way that, to me, demonstrates a lot of character. And our parents as well, they are working really hard. They have been overwhelmingly supportive and positive. They're struggling on their end with this. This is a lot of them, but a lot of them are very pleased, as you've heard. But overall, they've just been really supportive of our efforts here, and that support means so much to us, and it just makes the whole thing work so much better.
So we are blessed, at OLA to have that spiritual aspect behind, with us, and, very spiritual leaders.
Every email I've gotten from a parent, even though my kids are pretty self-motivated and self-driven, like every email from a parent has been like, thank you so much. Like, we appreciate so much, like, what you're doing for our kids.
I think OLA is always talked about and stressed gratitude, but this is certainly, I think, for the kids, this is really living it.
I think this experience will help them to realize just how lucky they are, and that they really do enjoy and appreciate their education.
So if I could say anything to parents, and that's from my own experiences, I try to remind myself of this, is just keep it light, keep it fun, and don't worry so much about the perfection of the assignments. It'll be what it will be.
Out of this struggle and tragedy, something can be born. And what's going to be the rebirth is this, the spiritual quarantine, drawing ourselves closer to God during this time, and to our students and to our families and other staff members.
I mean, they're reaching out to the community. So, and the service aspect, teachers are asking their kids to write letters to first responders, to nurses and doctors and hospitals on the front lines, even to grocery store clerks, those that are right there experiencing maybe hundreds of people coming through that, it makes you nervous to deal with those people. So our students, they're reaching out and they're providing a service to thank those that are serving us. And truly I've seen our community, that their hearts are there to love. And that I have learned how OLA school lives the pillars that they want to live up to, and they live their motto. So it's been good in a real bad, terrible time, but it's been good to see that.
On behalf of Our Lady of Assumption Parish and School, Happy Easter.
God bless you.
Be not afraid, Jesus has risen.